With the summer coming to an end, I thought it would be interesting to see which players still remain free agents. Now, the players we're going to talk about today, they're not like Paul George, they're not stars by any means, but they're not bad players. Yes, they've had a few ups and downs in their careers, but they're not bad players. And it's surprising to see that they're still free agents, essentially. Now, these players are Markelle Fultz, Lonnie Walker, and Taylor Horton-Tucker. When people hear these names, they often think about the huge contracts that these players have signed in the past, and it's fair to say that, yes, they did underperform, but they are by no means bad players. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. I think these guys deserve another shot, and I'm going to explain why they could be useful to certain teams. First of all, Markelle Fultz. He's had a rough start to his career, especially after he had his shoulder injury. But since joining the Magic, he's played quite well, even though he's dealt with a lot of injuries still. He barely played in 2021 and 2022, and even this year he only played 43 games. But he did put up solid numbers in 2023. And he's a player he's able to bring the ball up the court, he can pass, and he can even defend. He actually had a positive impact defensively this year, who would have thought? His on-verse off defensive rating was minus 1.08. Nothing incredible, I agree, but it's still good for the team. And so what that means essentially is that opponents scored 1.08 points less per 100 possessions with Markelle actually on the court. So yes, he's not an outstanding defender, but he's definitely not impacting the team badly with his defending. He's actually helping them. His last contract was a 3-year, $15 million deal with the Magic, but to be fair, he was still 23 at the time when they signed him, and I believe he can still improve his playmaking and defending. As far as a new contract, I don't think he'll sign another big one like the one he got, but having said that, giving him a 3-year, $27 to $30 million deal could be a steal. Potential teams that can sign him are the Pistons, the Spurs, and the Raptors. However, I don't really see the Pistons handing him out a contract because they're loaded with guards as it is. So forget about them. But you never know. I mean, it's the Pistons. Poor Cade Cunningham. This franchise has been trying to rebuild for the past 5 years, and they're still in the same spot as they were. The Spurs don't really make sense either because they're looking for spacing, and Markelle Fultz is definitely not going to provide spacing. I just mentioned these teams because they are obviously not going to contend. They still have some contracts to hand out, they're below the luxury tax. But yeah. However, one team that could use Markelle Fultz is the Raptors. They could be a good fit in my opinion. They don't really have a guard that can handle the ball off the bench, apart from Davion Mitchell, and even if the team picks up Bruce Brown's team option and sign Markelle to a 3-year, $27 million deal, they would still be right under that luxury tax. So win-win. Now moving on to Lonnie Walker. Overall this season, he averaged about 10 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. He got injured early after a great start to the season, averaging 14.6 points in just 21 minutes a night over a 17-game span. So he is a good 3-point shooter, both from above the break and in the corner, which shows versatility as a shooter. And he can create his own shot and knock down catch-and-shoot threes. He actually shot a whopping 44.4% from 3 from the corner, and 92% of his corner threes were assisted. So there's that catch and shoot type player that he can be. And from above the break, he shot only 36.5%, which is average, but it's not bad. He had a positive net rating of 3.95 this season, and both positive defensive rating and offensive rating, even though he was on the Nets, which makes sense that he was a positive for them, they're not really good. So yeah, he's essentially a good backup to have on a team such as the Pelicans, in my opinion. They already have lots of good defenders, so he would be a good spark coming off the bench for them offensively, and he wouldn't actually hurt the team defensively, and he can even add more spacing. When you have Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram, you need shooters around them. Now, if you put him in the corner, he's shown that he can be a catch and shoot type of guy. But having that said, another team that could use his talents is the Hawks, as they're probably the team that's in the worst spot right now, even after winning the lottery this year. After the departure of DeJounte Murray, Trae Young will probably want to leave if the team doesn't try to put pieces around him that would make them contenders. So having a guy like Lonnie Walker on the team could provide spacing and scoring while the organisation figures out if they want to enter a rebuild or try to make the playoffs. I'm not saying that he's going to change the whole team and he's going to make them, a contender. Of course not. But he's going to be a good asset for whichever team signs him. Now, he could still sign a team-friendly deal, as his last contract was a one-year, $2.3 million deal with the Nets last year, so great value. And I really don't expect him to ask for over $6-7 million per year. Now, the last player on the list I consider to be a good pickup in this free agency is Talen Horton-Tucker, THT. I'm not saying that he's going to be signing with a contender. I want to make that clear. Again, those are the three remaining players, in my opinion, that are worth giving out a contract to. In terms of efficiency, we're looking at 39.6% field goal percentage and 33% from deep. So there's quite a lot left to be desired, that's true. But THT did average 10.1 points in roughly 20 minutes per game this season on only 9 field goal attempts. So although he's not the most efficient scorer, he's got the confidence, and his ability to score is going to be useful for a team such as the Blazers. I know the Blazers have Scoot Henderson, they have Anthony Simons, they have Shaedon Sharpe, but he would probably be coming off the bench anyways if he signed with another team. So why not try to prove himself on a struggling team like he did in Utah? After all, he's super explosive, he's young so he can still improve and try to be more efficient. Efficiency is a key word when it comes to THT. He's a good scorer, but he needs to work on that efficiency. So I think the Blazers could sign him to a 2-year, $11 million deal, especially after Malcolm Brogdon got traded to the Wizards for Deni Avdija. That would keep the Blazers beneath the luxury tax, and maybe it wouldn't be so bad to have the young guys actually compete for their starting spot. If you throw in THT in there, he's going to try and prove himself and get more minutes, so that's going to create a healthy, competitive environment for young players to fight for their spot. So there you have it. These are the 3 players in this free agency class, in my opinion, that are worth giving out a contract to if you're a struggling team or you're trying to make a playoff push this year. But yeah, tell me what you think of these players and who else did I miss?